Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for the Cuckoo's Fiancee, or A Couple of Cuckoos, chapter 117. When we last left our heroes, we sort of had the ending of that little asking out scene between Nagi and Hiro, as Hiro agreed to go out with Nagi, but she still sort of, despite the fact that she originally asked him, placed another, requirement on it, circling all the way back to the beginning with the if you can beat me in grades thing, I'll go out with you. And so Nagi comes home all celebratory and, tells Erika and Sachi to not bother him for a week while he does that. Leaving Erika and Sachi to sort of be left to reckon with their feelings about Nagi getting that date with Hiro, as Sachi very clearly projects all of her feelings about the issue onto Erika, and it seemed to be really good in a sort of the way Yoshikawa writes these sort of complicated hormonal feelings, if it weren't for, the Sachi thing. But Erika ends up realizing that she is not exactly happy for Nagi and Hiro, which also does feel like something she should have got into already, everything, all things considered. But anyway, as Erika and Sachi are dealing with that, Ai arrives utterly furious. And that's where we leave off. So let's dive right on into the 117th foul. I approve of your relationship. And our picture here is of Ai in the sort of tropical themed crop top and jean shorts, palm trees in the background. A furious Ai-chan storms in. How will they survive this catfight? And we open on Erika desperately fixing her hair because she was ready for bed last chapter. So she's putting her little ribbons in. What the hell is Ai-chan doing in our place? And Sachi's just sucking on a watermelon lollipop. And Sachi just casually comments, maybe because Nagi's going to start dating Hiro-san when he beats her in the next test, and because I told her about it. Sachi, stop doing that! And Erika just comments, you told her? I mean, she's going to find out eventually, right? And at that point, she'd be a whole lot scarier if she found out then. That bad? And we see that she's already here. Ai has her shoes off. And she's in Nagi's room. She's already been, escorted up to the room, lounging on his couch while Nagi, kneels. And Ai is just, furious here. Nagi-chan, what's to say here about going out with Hiro-san? What about me? And Nagi looks up at her and kind of sheepishly says, I don't think we ever had an agreement about that. And he sort of freezes. And Ai has this moment of realization, I think. Oh, she was her alliance. I was so focused on getting married to Nagi-chan, I hadn't even considered it. I think meaning dating. Again, the translation still feels just a little wonky here. But yeah, she just sort of forgot that part. Good for you, Ai. Nagi just looks away. Yeah. I can't believe it. And Sachi and Erika, we see, are eavesdropping behind the door. And Erika turns to Sachi, why are they so adorable together? And Sachi comments fellow kindergartners or something. And Ai just sort of questions, so, back then, if I had confessed, would you have started dating me? And Nagi's taken aback at that. Not way back when they were kids, but after she was reintroduced earlier in the series. I love Nagi-chan so much. And Nagi's panic at the love confession and that whole arc from a while back. Nagi grips his chest. I think maybe I would have. Okay, that's not something we've really had an idea of before now, but okay. And Ai is sort of taken aback at that and then smiles. Then we're good. And Nagi's just confused at that. Then why did you barge in here looking so angry? Well, what I couldn't forgive was that you decided without telling me a single thing. I would never direct my anger at your feelings. After all, there's nothing we can do about that. That's oddly mature for Ai. I never really, the whole swamp metaphor that she came in on. That's always kind of like my central vision of how Ai sees herself. Is like, no, she sees herself as better than everyone, that she can control everyone. But Nagi just thinks her thoughts are so complicated. And then Ai cuts down all of that sort of seemingly goodness there. For now. And then back with Sachi and Erika. Erika turns to Sachi. He said he might have gone out with Ai-chan even. Doesn't that make him a filthy degenerate? I mean, no more than, like, dating Hiro, I don't think. But Sachi just comments, get a shovel. We're digging his grave. And the door opens, and Ai just, like, appears between them, revealing she was aware they were there the entire time. But I love, like, the way it's framed, like, she warps between them. She clearly doesn't. But the door is, like, already closed behind her when she reappears. So it does give this kind of, like, sudden, boom, Ai is there. And she tells the girls, in other words, love is all about timing. Which takes the two of them aback. Not quite sure how that, like, you know... I mean, I guess technically, going on with what I said about, like, you know, contrasting the I love Nagi-chan so much with actually asking him out, I was thinking about Erika and her whole I think I'm in love with Nagi bit. She didn't ask him out either, I suppose. But I'm not quite sure the all about timing really applies to either of their stories, especially Sachi. But anyway, we get like a shot of the house, and then dinner is served. I guess a late night snack of fried food. Let's eat. Wow, you made it a midnight snack, Nagi-kun? It is a midnight snack. There we go. And Nagi's just, no? And Sachi reacts, then who? And Ai points at herself, I made it. I've already mastered the Umino family flavor. Okay, and Sachi rightly calls her out there. Childhood friend flex. But Nagi likes it. It's great. That's good to hear. The other girls both comment, it's really good. Nagi tells her, thanks a bunch. I've been so busy with studying that I've been neglecting the chores. And Ai sort of turns to him, Nagi-chan, you would go that far for this? And Erika and Sachi have this little like moment together, like, yeah, he definitely would. Or maybe it's more of an embarrassed, like they're not doing the chores either. And Ai then tells Nagi, from now on, just give it everything you've got and concentrate on studying. And take first place. Okay, she's oddly supportive here. I've never really seen Ai like this before. I don't know. And Nagi's a little shocked too, huh? Starting today, I will be the live-in maid of the house. Okay, that's a choice. Nagi like spit takes, Sachi reacts, huh? And Erika chimes in, you mean you're going to room here with us? But Sachi just reacts, wait, since when? But Ai, wheedles in, not as a roommate, but as a maid. Please employ me for 500 yen an hour, Erika-chan. She is getting free room and board, but that's still incredibly cheap. But, smarter than just living here for free. Make them pay you. Make them fucking pay you. And Erika just comments, fine by me, but Nagi-kun's been doing it for free, though. And someone, might be Ai, reacts, that's not the point here. And Nagi sort of tells her, so, Ai-chan, you don't have to go that far. But she just tells him, no, I just want to support you. And your future with Hiro-san. There's a game she's playing here. Especially if you go back, even if you assume that the ending here is caused by, the ending of the previous chapter was caused by, Ai's misunderstanding, assuming that, that a date had been set up in her marriage plans or whatever. It still feels like quite the 180 here. It feels like there's some other scheme, especially given Yoshikawa's general, skill with the sort of messy emotional states of these characters. I feel like there's something more going on here than just sudden support from Ai. And Sachi sort of calls that out. So you mean that you're okay with Nagi going out with Hiro-san? I thought you liked him. And she then says, I was once unfaithful and had an affair with music. Okay, that's a weird way to describe your career, Ai. So if it's just this once, I'll allow it. Alright. So, not that supportive. Maybe she means just the one date or something? And then she also reiterates, just this once. And Nagi comments she said it twice. But also, it's not like they're getting married. And in order to show Nagi-chan my kindness, I approve your relationship with anyone at all. So there's a title line, said in a very kind of sneaky way. Because it does feel like she supports the relationship on the condition that it's temporary. And that in the end, I still wins. And yeah, everyone's sort of stunned at that, because, like, what a thing to say. Nagi just thinks, how am I supposed to react to that? And someone calls out, Nagi, and Sachi calls in, for the record, I'm against this, alright? Which, you know, Sachi's Sachi. You know, my thoughts on Sachi at this point. Nagi comments, Sachi, you can study as hard as you want, but chasing tail like that is gross and I don't want to see it. I'm not sure the use of chasing tail, like, I feel like chasing tail does not really apply to being into one person, you know? Yeah, Urban Dictionary, top response, the pursuit of casual sexual relations. It's not a casual thing. Him and Hiro, that's this, you know, long-term crush. And so I'm not sure if it's just the translation being kind of weird, because again, the translation's been weird for a while now, or if it's Sachi just kind of lashing out, you know, completely ignoring the actual dynamics of Nagi and Hiro. I don't know. Or maybe it's in part inspired by, like, the whole Nagi-Erika thing in the aftermath of the M1, and how that's sort of, how do I put this? You know, because he already seemingly has Erika, to go after Hiro now feels sort of casual, chasing tail in the sort of slang there. I don't know. But Nagi just, and Sachi comments, preferably, I'd rather you lost to Hiro-san and never start going out with her. I mean, I guess at least she's honest about her feelings. I don't like her feelings, but, and Nagi is just, and snaps, you know, even though you're my sister, there's a limit to how mean you can be. So he's viewing, that's a weird response. I'll choose to read that as sort of denying the awkward incest shit from the two of them. Because, like, after everything that he's gone through with Sachi at this point, it's hard to believe that he genuinely thinks she's just being mean, you know? And Sachi then, very cruelly, but kind of brushed under the rug, reacts, I'm not your sister anyway. Right, but Erika chimes in, alright. In that case, I'll take first place. You fucking go, Erika. You fucking go. Fucking go for it. Shocking everyone. And she just sort of teases, I wonder what would happen then. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? But Nagi just reacts, but aren't your grades always pretty much in the dumpster? There's no way you could. Hearing that just makes me even more fired up. And I think this is still Nagi's line. Is that what they call big game hunting? Then Nagi just kind of freezes and looks around the room. Ai-chan who's supporting me. Sachi who's against it. And Amino-san who's here to stir things up. For these next 2 weeks, I'll be living with the three of them. Can I still study like this? If he can't study, then he can't date Hiro. Is there a breakthrough for him in sight? Okay. So a new status quo of... And I think it is sort of, in some degree, some of my general feelings about Ai as a character, it's fair to, like, bring her in. Ai has very much gotten the short end of the stick, as far as the female cast goes. You know, like, Sachi, Sachi's around, and I don't really like that she's around, but she still has, like, moments. She hasn't really had, like, a big focus arc since the fucking wedding shit. But, you know, Hiro and Erika both had big parts of the M1 arc, especially Erika, and Hiro's sort of the set focus of this arc. I was, like, a side character to the marriage stuff. She hasn't really had a whole, like, a lot of focus beyond those little bits in the fake wedding, since I want to say, I mean, she instigated Horny Hotel, and that was like 40 chapters ago at this point. You know, that's almost a third of the series ago. So, like, it's fair for Yoshikawa to make Ai a bit more of a recurring character, even if my general thoughts for her are that she's, like, you know, kind of fucked up. And, like, you know, I almost there use the term gaslighting, and I don't think it's quite right to say I as a gaslighter, though maybe in some ways, but I don't think so. But that is the term that's been used on Erika a good deal, especially a year or so ago. I remember that being used a lot. And there's a very different thing there. Like, all of Erika's sort of weirdness was sort of being a tsundere who didn't really understand her feelings, and, you know, now that she does understand her feelings a lot better, she's not been as sort of weird about it all. I was presented as knowing exactly how she felt immediately. She sort of, you know, took control of every single situation she was a part of. She's a lot more of she's a lot more aware of herself than Erika is. And, you know, I initially assumed maybe she, you know, there was some, like, some of that, you know, the character, some of, like, her not understanding her own emotional state that we see in so many characters in this series earlier in the chapter, but no. I think in the end, she is well aware of what she's doing. She's just manipulating. You know, she's presenting herself as, like, you know, the kind friend that, you know, will always support Nagi, and isn't that kind such a good reason that he should end up with her in the end? There's not a lot of innocence to Ai. Like, she knows the shit she's pulling. And that does make her kind of fun, in a sort of antagonistic way. I'm very curious how her, you know, being in the house will end up sort of, fuck, lost train of thought there. Sort of shaking up the status quo. How it will end up leading to different conflicts between the main characters. I don't know. That all remains to be seen. But anyway, the bulk of this chapter is really just setting up that status quo, setting up Ai and her latest bit of manipulation against Nagi, presenting herself as this angel, so that when Nagi eventually tires of Hiro, has his just this once fling, he will come back to her. You know, I don't think it's a genuine support. It's an elaborate scheme, if I'm being honest here. But yeah, with that, I don't know, Erika's the most fun here. I want Erika to just fuck up everyone's plans. I think it'd be really funny. I don't know how she would do it, but I do think it would be kind of funny if she ends up somehow taking first place. I don't think it will happen, but I think it would be the funniest outcome. But yeah, with that, a sort of new, you know, short-term status quo is established. And I'm curious to see how, you know, I imagine for the next few chapters there'll be a lot more in the sort of one-off antic sort of vibe. You know, the test will be like in the background for a while, but it won't be immediate. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there when we get there. It is a harem manga. Things move slowly here, but we will get there when we get there. That's my theory, and we'll just have to wait until we do. So, with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!